Alright, the idea of superheroes needing a healthy outlet to the trauma and abuse that they face is a neat concept. Exploring these characters' lives, fears, and insecurities through a therapy session is a very strong premise. Heroes in Crisis had all this potential, and they shot themselves in the foot right at the finish line. Basically, in this comic, we see a whole cast of characters talking to a simulation program that acts as a therapist for their heroes. Until the facility gets breached and the heroes die in the process, including Poison Ivy. Throughout the story, we are set up to believe that it's either Harley Quinn or Booster Gold that actually ended up killing the heroes. However, halfway through, they just ram a whole fucking new story down your throat. So as backstory, the Flash, Barry Allen, had to fix some shit that went down, but in doing so, he ended up having the Flash, Wally West, lose his family, his wife, and kids, and now he's super fucked up from everything and feels alone in his situation. So, in this story, we find out that it wasn't Harley Quinn, nor was it Booster Gold, but in fact, Wally West, the Flash. And he keeps going back in time to kill himself and frame the other two in the process? What the fuck? This story, while with its fault, has a super strong premise and idea, and it was generally super engaging to read, and yet the third act just comes out of fucking nowhere, and in a way it changes what the story is trying to be. It's trying to show what heroes have gone through and how they handle it emotionally, so we see so many different characters be vulnerable and give them a sense of humanity. And that is all just completely sidetracked and is centered around one person. The ending alienates the others and the trials they have faced. Much of the story is building up characters that died in the system they used to engage in therapy safely, but not so safe because the Flash is somehow able to use the Time Force and see every session at once, so now he knows everyone's secret. Oh wow. And then that is used as like a side story where someone is leaking this information to the Daily Planet, and there's this whole thing between Superman and Lois and the rest of the Justice League and how they feel like they can't trust him, but the whole thing is just kind of dropped. I really don't know. This story ends with Wally the Flash turning himself in to authorities and the time loop is broken. Setting up the whole loop of Wally killing himself over and over, it's trying to be emotional and kinda edgy, but it's just plain silly and reads way too dramatic, almost like you're watching a CW show. Having the whole third section of the story be about Wally and his specific issues, which kind of disregards all the other heroes. I think in the early part of the story, they did a fantastic job balancing out between the different heroes while focusing on a specific hero. In the case, Booster Gold. They have an interesting take on the character, but by the end, Booster Gold hasn't learned anything and is just used for annoying comic relief. And the fact that they killed off a few low-tier heroes but just brought Poison Ivy back to life is crazy. It shows you that they are just used for emotional weight, nothing more, nothing less. There's a section where we see a hero in a session tell us his catchphrase, and when the JLA arrive to the scene after they have all been murdered, they have a moment where Superman can't remember what the catchphrase is, but he tries to. Is this supposed to be emotional? What is this? What is this? Once you realize what the story is trying to do, you can't unsee it, and it sours the experience, which is unfortunate. I think this is a very interesting concept, and there's a lot of strong moments in here, and these characters are very thought out. You can see the knowledge and time that went into understanding these characters and their issues, and how they would react. However, by the end, it just seems so utterly pointless. There's no reason for any of it, for anything really. All this comic does in the end is turn Wally West, the Flash, into a crazy man who keeps killing himself so he doesn't have to face the reality of what he did, which is killing innocent heroes. Wowie. I want to recommend this comic. I really, really do. I just don't think I can. by the end you feel like you read two different series. The first half is strong and the second half is just a fucking mess.